Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome to another episode of COL. I'm Sergeant First Class Marlon Johnson, and here to join me this morning is the rest of the team at the Valencia Medical Recruiting Station. Sergeant First Class Q and myself, and then we have Colonel Christopher Meyering. Sir, if I'm messing your name up, I apologize. Um, This week, like I said, we have Colonel Christopher Meyering. Colonel Meyering is the command surgeon for the U.S. Army Training and Doctrine Command. Welcome, sir, and we're excited to have you with us this week.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate the chance to get to you.
All right, so would you tell us about your, or give us a little bit of a bio about yourself, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So as was mentioned, so I'm Colonel Chris Meyering. So I am the command surgeon for TRADOC, headquarters TRADOC, which that means is that TRADOC is responsible for all of the recruiting. So bringing everybody into the Army, and then all of the training, whether that's, if you are, an infantry soldier, if you are field artillery, or if you're, in medicine in the medical field too. TRADOC oversees that individual's training as a headquarters organization, and that's all the other education that you get throughout your career, too. So, and I don't want to bore you with all the steps, but there's other times, when as an officer, as you progress through, and as an enlisted soldier, as you progress through, there are little marks, that you go through, and that we focus attention, on military training and education for you, as well. And so we oversee that portion too. So I started out, my background is I'm a family physician, family medicine physician and sports medicine physician. So my original undergraduate, I was at Arizona State University, and I got a Bachelor of Science in psychology. Worked for a short bit of time too, and I can kind of go into a little bit more details about that, time period. But then was accepted to Midwestern University through Arizona College of Osteopathic Medicine, and completed my training through there. I was very fortunate to get a health profession scholarship program, a 4-year scholarship through the Army. So they were able to pay my way through school and give me a stipend along the way too. So that was fantastic. And then from there, I did my family medicine residency over at Fort Belvoir Family Medicine Program. And from after that, went to Germany for my first duty tour as the medical director for a clinic that was in Grafenberg, Germany. And then did that for 2 years. Also got lucky that I got picked up, for the Sports Medicine Fellowship Program, which is a 1-year additional program for family physicians in the Army. Did that training back at Fort Belvoir, which is in Northern Virginia area. And then from there became a resident faculty, teaching faculty over at Fort Gordon, which is in Augusta, Georgia, for the family medicine residency program there. Did that for about 8 years, actually, and then moved to some different positions. One was in, First Cav Division, that's the big horse patch, if you have anybody, with their military history, if anybody's seen that. So did that, and then became the waiver authority for the Army so which that means is anybody that does not meet, the initial accession standards for medicine, for medical standpoint, that packet came to me, and I got to review that and say, yes, you're good to come into the military to be a soldier, or no, thank you very much for thinking of us too, but we need you to take your services elsewhere. So I was that for a couple of years, and then I got to, picked to be in this particular position too at the headquarters TRADOC to kind of oversee that. So sorry, that was kind of a long time, but I think for this group too, we'll go back to like kind of focusing on like how I decided to come in and and everything too. But anyway, I'll turn everything over to you and your team.
Thank you, sir. So I know you have a large family like I do, and it's a common question we get about having a family in the Army. So with your career, how has it affected or benefited your family?
Yeah, so interesting thing too. So I have 2 different parts of my my kids. So when I first came in actually into the military, I had my 2 daughters, who are now grown, so they're 25 and 26. But when I first came in, they were in first grade actually, and in preschool, when I was in, and so that was actually part of the reason why I first joined the Army, why I took the scholarship too, because I finished undergraduate, was looking to try to get into school too. It took me a couple of years actually, at 3 years, total to get in, to get accepted. And I'd been working full time. I was working 48 hours in an emergency room, and by the time I needed to get out, I needed to figure out a way to support my family too, and continue to go to school. So the Army program, that helped out with that too. So it gave me some income, helped me out with that, and so that way I could continue to help support my family. It's talking to my older daughter, and then right now, moving forward, I have actually, 3 more kids, on the younger side now, as a colonel. I have twin boys who are 4 and a 2-year-old daughter. And so what's interesting too, and then, because I have, my daughters, being older now too, I've been able to go back to them, and talk to them about how my career has affected them too. And they're actually appreciative, because they said that, they were exposed to, some different experiences. When I moved over to Germany, obviously they were with me there too. They got to see another part of the world. We ended up going to 8 different countries when we were over there. So they got to see how that was, travel around. They had friends, that had been living in the same place, the entire time too, and and knew nothing different, knew nothing different of the United States, let alone the world. And so my daughters were actually appreciative of that too. And so they didn't feel that it affected them. It made the 2 of them close, because they rely upon each other. When we move to another area, that typically happens with new kids. But as far as times that I've had on deployments, or when I've had to go away, on some temporary duties, for a 2 or 3 week stints, it didn't affect them in any way too. And then right now, like for the little guys, that I have, they're always excited to see Dad, come home. I come home from work too, and and then they jump on me, and we run around and have some good times. So it's been good. There's from me, like from my staff also, they have young family. Some of them have kids too, and it's one of the things that focus of mine is that like if you have things for your kids, for your families too, we need you to take care of that as well. It's just as important as some of the Army mission that we have. We as long as you're meeting out the demands for your job too, then you're able to continue to have a family. So it's been good. So long-winded way of saying that things are good, that they're very they're appreciative of all the experiences that they've had, and it's gone well.
So, sir, I got a question for you. What was your first assignment as a physician?
So officially, being a doctor, like after I graduated from medical school, then I, went into the internship program and into the family medicine residency. So that was over at Fort Belvoir, and really, it's like a hands-on, learning, experience, as far as for everything you need to be. So you are a doctor, but you're still in, some training as well. Right out of that, from that, like, kind of a supervised environment, in the residency, I ended up going to Germany, where I got, thrown into being the, I say thrown into, but I ended up becoming the medical director for a clinic, over at in Grafenwehr, Germany. So it was a small clinic, so it served, for about 2,000 people, 2,500, folks, on the installation right there. So I'll say too, I mean, that's the one thing, with Army medicine, that's different from the civilian side. There's no chance that anybody's going to give you any, kind of, ability to kind of supervise or, just be able to kind of oversee how things go on in a clinic, other than, in the Army. I mean, we, our Army physicians, we get, put into, a lot of the leadership roles like that, where I was responsible for, some of the education, some of the lab, functions, the X-ray, portion of the clinic too. And so, Yeah, so interesting job. I mean, I was, you know, just part of the team, as far as with like all of the aspects that go on for the clinic, but but really kind of put in charge of all of that, like right out of the chute. So it was fun. I mean, it was interesting, doing that particular job. Fantastic sense of community too, and for a smaller town in Germany. And it was rewarding being a family physician because full scope, everybody that was there, from retirees, from the the elderly population that had retired there, to all the newborn babies that were born too. I was taking care of all of them. I was a big part of the community right there too, so it was fantastic first experience.
So, sir, as healthcare recruiters, a key topic of discussion that we get a lot is the difference between MD and DO. How do you feel your educational path has benefited your career progression?
Yeah, no, that's great. Because just so everybody's aware, too, there's a large number of DOs within the Army. At one time it was about 40% of the physicians that are in the military or in the Army are DO. So from the Army standpoint, it's it's it is what it is. Like, no differences, whatsoever. Now, I will say, from my standpoint, especially as a sports medicine physician, having the osteopathic training has been really important, and it's actually been another tool that I've been able to use, to help patients, that have any of the musculoskeletal complaints. It really kind of sets you ahead, basically, because you're aware of, the interaction, all the physiological functions, between, and the interaction between all the different body parts too. And so, from my standpoint, it's been fantastic being a DO in the Army. I'll share too. You're on all. I've had 3 deployments too, and then a lot of people who I've worked with, and then all the soldiers that I work with have loved having the manipulation too, because I'm not giving them medicine, that can potentially affect their ability to do their job. Especially if you talk to anybody that's an aviator, anybody that's flying anything, a helicopter or a plane. It's extremely important that you're not giving them medicines, that can affect them, and not allow them to do their job. And so, they need to have, something that can help them out, get them feeling a lot better and fit to be able to do their job quickly, without affecting their performance in that job. So, being a DO in the Army has been excellent. I mean, I'll share too. Yeah, my wife is also a sports medicine physician too. She's an MD, and she actually has some envy of me because she's sports medicine, and then she sees stuff on, from the sports med side, and it's like, can't do anything for them. And she asks me, and I've taught her some of the manipulation techniques, that are low key, that she's able to do and able to perform. And she appreciates that because it's another tool. It's another, part of your kit, that you can use to really help out your patients too. So it's kind of funny. Yeah, she has some of that envy too.
All right, sir. Another question for you. What's your favorite thing about being a part of TRADOC?
Well, favorite thing about being in this job right now is just the impact that I've been able to, make on how things are done within, Army medicine in particular. For our trainees, like, coming right out, they're coming in. We didn't have a lot of medical assets, in a far forward position too. We've actually been able to influence that too, where, we have physician assistants, nurse practitioners, medics, in the basic training sites too. And I have really kind of been able to affect a big change, which I think is going to carry through for the rest of the Army. So for being in this position, even though if you ask my in the beginning, hey, would this be a fun job that you would like? Maybe not so much, because I don't do much in direct patient care right now, but I'm really affecting tens of thousands of people, on all the time. Hopefully, you guys still see me. Yeah, from the heat injury, just delivery of behavioral health care, in uh,
Obviously, we'll give this a little bit. We're having some technical difficulties right now. Can you hear us, sir? Sir, can you hear us?
He might have to drop off and reconnect.
Yeah. Oh, I see movement. That's a good sign. Again, the joys of live stream.
yeah, do you hear me?
We hear you now, sir. We got you back.
Yeah, me or no? I can see you.
Can you hear me?
Do you hear me?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
How about now?
I can hear you.
I can hear you now, sir.
Yep.
Now also.
Okay. All right,
That's
I'm
right.
just going to hang out by my window. Yeah, so hopefully the view is okay.
The view's fine, sir. And thank you for working through the kinks on this, but we got you back loud and clear.
Yeah. This is not my first time with having to deal with live streaming and communication issues too. So,
right?
So I apologize to everybody that's watching right now.
That's all right. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as we get the info out, that's definitely key. So we're good.
Yep. So I apologize, where we were in that conversation. So
I'll be honest, I don't either. So we'll let Sergeant Cube kind of pick up with the new question. We'll go from there.
Okay.
All right, sir. So what advice would you have for our viewers that are beginning their medical school applications now?
Yeah, so if you're starting out right now, probably a good thing too is so reaching out at your school, like what it is, some different groups, like kind of support groups too, because that's the best way to get a lot of information that's out there, like where to go. I will give you one word of caution too. Don't be intimidated. Like oh my gosh, this is kind of similar to like the pitfalls of social media, where if you hear like, oh my gosh, this person is like doing this job and this other person was on a cancer research team and I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing any of that. Don't worry about that. Really, find out stuff that you're interested in. Look at what steps that you might need to take for and research like some of the programs that you might be interested in. So if there's something about a particular school that you really want to know a little bit more about, reach out to that school, find out, like about them, see if, because some schools too, they may be more research oriented, or they may be, they may be changing their curriculum up a little bit, where it's focused on, more clinical delivery, of, like more hands-on clinical experience right out of the gate, and then that might be really more desirable for you too. So take a look at programs that you might be interested in, and see what's there. One of the other things is if you are able to volunteer, I don't know if some schools require that you do that, but personally that's what I did to gain experience, and for one, and then know, yeah, this is really the route that I want to go, because medical school and even dental school too, it's a big deal. I mean, it's a commitment, on your time and everything, and you want to be sure that, yeah, this is fun. I ended up volunteering in the local emergency room that was state, and then did that for a little bit. The nurses kind of laughed. They said, "Well, we knew you were gonna go into medicine at some point, because I think that night we had a couple of gunshot wounds, some stabbings, 3 overdoses, like this nightmare of a shift, and then I came back the next time like, huh, all right, I guess you really like this. So, go and do some stuff like that too, to find out, is this what you really enjoy, and get some experience in that way too. I think that will help develop you, and that makes, people more competitive too, as you go into, some of the interview process, that, you do have, some more of that hands-on experience too. Yeah. So look at, some of those different aspects, try to, get yourself.
Oh no, here we go again. I think we'll have to start.
Am I back again?
You are
okay.
back, sir.
Okay, so yeah, so hopefully that's enough on that one. It's kind of it's just a cloudy day here, Sue. So I don't know, maybe there's something that's in the air. But.
There probably is.
So, sir, I got another question for you, real quick. What advice would you offer, or could you offer, to those that have not had successful first try at applying for medical school?
Okay, so you broke up a little bit, but I thought so somebody who wasn't successful in their initial try for medical school?
Yes, sir. What advice would you give a person like that?
Okay, so first off, don't give up. So that's the biggest thing. So if this is something that is really where you see yourself in the future too, don't do a one and done. Don't just. I don't know if some of the schools do this on purpose, but if they see if you really have the passion that you to actually be part of their program, if they do that intentionally or not. But what I would say is take a look at your profile, take a look at your portfolio really, and then see, okay, here's some of the strong points, and then here's maybe where I'm weak. Work on that one weak thing, and then see if that's enough of an adjustment. So for me personally, I mean, I'll just share with everybody too. I mean, I was in undergraduate for 5.5 years. I at Arizona State, got distracted, didn't focus, took a short hiatus, and then came back, on fire. But that unfortunate time, that really kind of took my GPA down, when I was trying to get in. When I took the MCAT, knocked that out of the park, so that was no problem, but my GPA was really kind of holding me back. So what I did is I did another a full semester of post-baccalaureate, and all science courses, and then made my my portfolio look a lot stronger because it got all A's on that, and then was able to boost my GPA up a little bit more, show that to people that were reviewing my file, and then see where it was. So if you feel like, okay, like I've been doing really well on my GPA, but my MCAT scores weren't really high. Okay, well, take a course, kind of preparatory course, and then maybe retake that too. That's not a ding. It's just it's the thing that you need to improve to try to get back, to get into there. If it's something where maybe you don't, maybe they thought that you didn't have experience or anything like that, do that. Where you're going out volunteering, getting more hands-on experience, doing that particular, doing some kind of a medical function. Whatever it is that you felt is short, then go for that. Don't try to correct more than one thing too, because probably by that point, either you're still focusing on finishing up your undergraduate, maybe you're working, something along those lines. Don't burn yourself out trying to correct everything. Just do like the one thing that you feel is the most lacking for your file, and talk to some of the counselors that are on your school. They are a great resource. They will tell you, no kidding. Or if there's a school you're interested in, find out, hey, what on my file was really not, was really kind of detracting, from you guys, giving me an interview slot, or what was really kind of holding me back. And they'll tell you. I mean, they are there to help you out. Don't be afraid. You gotta have thick skin. Just don't be afraid of what they tell you, and and figure out, okay, this is my next course of action. This is the next thing that I need to do.
So, sir, how could a prospective applicant, upon being selected to serve, ensure that they have a successful Army career as a medical officer? What advice could you provide them?
Yeah, so so as far as for having a successful medical career, so first off, be a good doctor. So learn what it is.
Hey, it's Friday.
It's Friday, and I'm telling you, it is dreary as heck over here. So if it's the same for him where he's at.
Let me see if I'm back again.
You are back again,
All right,
sir.
Back again.
And luckily it was at the beginning of your answer, so.
Yeah, okay. So really the first thing is, be a good physician. So the Army spends a lot of time and money on you because you are extremely important. I cannot, express how important it is. I mean, if there's a time in our history when you can see how important Army medicine is to the military and the Army, this is it right now. I mean, you can see it. I mean, I am at the forefront of everybody's thought, as things are moving forward. Like, how are we going to, continue training? How are we doing that? Doc, what do we got? And so everybody's looking at Army medicine to be able to do this. So know your craft well. They're investing and willing to invest a lot of time and money on you because you have a skill set that is unlike anybody else. Nobody else on the staff is able to, take your position and take your job. So you are extremely important. Knowing that and then having that, that knowledge is really important. That's why the Army needs you, really, really needs you. So first off, be a really good physician. Two, learn how what you bring to the table for the Army. The Army has like certain way of doing stuff too, but understanding how what it is that you bring to the table, what you can kind of input that you can provide to them too, that will be welcomed and then and desired actually by the senior leaders too. So for me, like I've kind of gained been selected for all of these positions too because of everybody's knowledge of what it is that I do, like who I am, that I'm straightforward about stuff, like hey, if you ask me about things, I can give you an educated medical opinion on that stuff and say it in the ways that that the Army commanders need to know, way that they need to hear it. And that's always been and that's always been my thing, is that just ask questions or whatever, and figure out like how it is that how you are value added to the team. Don't shy away from that. There'll be chances or times when you feel like, oh well, maybe they didn't ask me or anything like that. No, you are value added. You need to kind of bring yourself up, bring yourself into into the mix of things too, and you'll be respected and then appreciated by doing that too. So find one other last thing too is find somebody that is senior to you, so like either in two ways. One is you can have some, old guy like myself, if you wanted to reach out, kind of, get some additional information. But really important is, so when you are coming in and then you're going to a residency program, talking to the chief residents, talking with them, talk to the people who have just experienced the stuff you're about to experience too, who are closer to it. It's all well and good for me to kind of say it, but I am not living it, or I have not recently lived it, and then so it's not going to be the same coming from somebody that is in a leadership position, like it's the chief resident, who is able to kind of share those experiences and help guide you on your way through, through the residency. Find another staff member too, either a senior individual, but also one who's more junior. So maybe somebody that has just come out, from their residency program. Like I was, from when I was over at Grafenbeer, and then also, when I was coming back as a fellow too, I would talk to the residents there also about, okay, what it is to, to be a sports fellow, what it was to be out on a deployment, what it was like to be in, as a medical director too. I brought that back over to the medical students and to all of the residents, that I was training when I was over at Fort Gordon over in Augusta, Georgia too. So get those levels of mentors, to kind of help you out too, and then kind of help guide you. Don't sacrifice, things that you think are important, because the Army medicine, you can do stuff where you're in either leadership positions or where you're doing more clinical medicine. And figure out what it is that's most interesting to you, and then ask those individuals, okay, well, how do I navigate to that? And then they'll help you out. So you're definitely not alone. Army is very big on mentorship, on bringing other individuals, on junior officers, up. So definitely ask some people to assist you in some guidance too.
So you're speaking about how an individual can impact their career and how they can impact the Army. But how does Army medicine impact the overall mission of the Army as a whole?
You kind of broke up on it too. And did you say, like, how is it that our Army medicine, like, how are we impacting the Army as a whole?
Roger. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Yes, so I mean, I'll just share, like a current example right now, with the coronavirus and the COVID operations. When the pandemic first started out, so the Army, we bring in, I'm not sure if everybody's aware of this, but for basic training alone, we bring in about 65,000 to 70,000 new soldiers every year. We bring in, and every week we have about 5,500 new soldiers showing up at 4 training sites, for basic training. That's just basic training. How do you bring all those people together from all over the United States safely, start their training, keep them from getting sick and getting wiped out, and being removed from being able to do their job, and keep that going, so that way, the units that need those soldiers who are well trained, on the other side, how do we continue that, the flow of individuals, coming over to them? How do we do that? And continue with that mission. So from the Army medicine side too, been very key on as far as like setting up the test, the quarantine, the test, restriction of movement, and then the testing, that sandwich that we were kind of doing. We had to get that established, and then educating all of the Army folks. I actually had to brief the Secretary of the Army and Chief of Staff of the Army on what TRADOC's plan was to do all of that, safely bring people in and continue on with the training too. And then they said, yep, sounds great. Sounds like a great plan. So we were able to move out and then do all of the stuff that we needed to do. I mean, you can see what an impact it's been. And then, from Army medicine, the way that we all operate too, you can see how Army medicine has really stepped up to the plate and then done a fantastic job, for the augmentation, the military treatment facilities, the urban augmentation treatment facilities that we set up, and then the vaccine distribution too. The Army's been one of the leaders for that, and as far as for distributing the vaccine, immunizing folks too. So Yeah, Army medicine has been a big impact on that. Yeah, this is the best example right now about like how big of a deal that we are. I mean, not to really toot our own horn that much, but we've been important. Our Army medicine's been really important. So this has been an interesting time. Definitely challenging, but very rewarding.
So, sir, we're getting to the time of our show where we're starting to wrap things up. But do you have any closing thoughts or advice for our future Army medical officers that are tuned into the show?
Yeah, I think it's time goes by pretty quickly too, especially when you keep dropping off. That doesn't help. But really, talk with folks. Talk with folks that are in those jobs. If if you have already been selected for a school and you're still kind of considering is the Army for you or not, reach out to some of those schools and then talk to some of the other folks that have accepted scholarships for the Army. Talk with them about it, and then see what it's like. Reach out to if you're interested in like what the Army residency programs are. They have student coordinators at all of those, and so you can reach out to them too. Gather up information, be well informed. That's the one thing too. Don't go into things blindly. But I would do everything that I've done again in a heartbeat. I mean, I've had, with the deployments, just even like the short times away too. This has been fantastic. Great job. I mean, you're very appreciated. Value added to the organization, and so I don't regret it. But I think for you all, it's one thing for me to say it. I think that you need to kind of gather up more information from multiple sources too. So don't be afraid to reach out to some of those programs. They are very approachable because they want to let you know what we're all about too. And so don't hesitate to talk to your recruiting team. If you need to get a points of contact for some of the programs that we have, whatever field that happens to be, if it's a surgical program, family medicine program, OBGYN program, Army medicine has training in all of those. And then so reach out to those folks too, and they'll help you out. Help guide you with that one.
Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for taking your time out of your busy schedule to visit with us today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love getting a chance to talk to everybody too. That's definitely a break from all the other stuff with trying to figure out like how we're going to do stuff with COVID. And so I really get a chance, getting a chance to be able to talk with everybody about this too. And if there's more questions, you can get them over to me, and then I'll be happy to answer those too.
Thank you. So this wraps up another episode. Thank you to our viewers for tuning in with us live. As always, we welcome your questions. You can comment below or on any of our other social media platforms. We hope everyone has a happy, healthy, and safe weekend. And we look forward to seeing you again next Friday at 10 a.m. here on Sick Call. Bye.